Have you ever noticed how some months feel like everything is moving forward and yet other months feel like you're just trying to play catch up or that you're stuck? Most people don't lose progress because they stop trying. They lose it because they lose momentum or they've never gained momentum in the first place. A lot of people build momentum, but then the minute they do, they back off and then they lose it and then they're starting all over again. We're going to take a deep dive into why momentum is the gold standard. When you hit momentum, you have hit your stride. And then more importantly, how do we keep it and how do we hang on to it? I'm Belinda Ellsworth, and I'm excited to dive into this with you because in working with people over the years, I know that this is the one thing that people lose sight of all the time, and then they always feel like they're starting over. So let's talk first about what is momentum. Momentum is forward motion that compounds over time. That's what you have to think about is compounding. It's like interest in a bank account that compounds over time. If you let it set and then you keep compounding on top of it, pretty soon you've got a nice little nest egg that you didn't even realize that you had. The same thing can be true of your time, your effort, your energy that you put into your business or into life, but specifically your business. It could be for your workouts as well. It can really be for any particular area. People, they start to see progress, which is starting to be momentum, and then they back off of it. So then they start to lose their progress or they're starting all over. And every time that you do that, you're not getting compounded interest. This is the important piece. It's not like you're keeping it in there. It's like if you had a bank account and you were pulling the money out and then you went back and started putting money back in, you'd never have compounded interest. The same is true of your efforts, your energy, and that you put into anything that you do. So if you can keep that analogy, this is going to help you to really understand how we get this momentum, but more importantly, how we hang on to it. Momentum is not intensity. It's not like I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to push really hard for this brief period of time and then I can coast. In fact, if anybody ever tells you, oh my gosh, you just need to work really hard and then you won't have to do anything, that simply is not true. And that's exactly how you gain momentum and then you lose it. I have consulted with a lot of businesses and I've watched them gain momentum and then I've sat and watched them completely lose it because they lose focus, they lose attention, they lose energy, or they go off to some other shiny object and they quit doing the very things that helped them become successful in the first place. This is how people lose momentum, and then they're right back to square one, and they've lost all of that compounded interest. And that compounded interest is long-term success. So let's talk about it's not intensity, it's about consistency. It is about focus. It is about doing what matters again and again and again and keeping up and sustaining that action steps. It's just like your workout. You know, this is really a difference for me in my workout routine now to where my workout routine has been in years past. In years past, I will get really like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to work really, really hard. And then I set up this really hard routine and I can stick with it for maybe, if I'm lucky, about a month, maybe a month and a half or 2 months if I'm really lucky, right? And then I kind of say, whew, I see some results and then I back off of it. Where this time when I really started a workout routine, I just did a little bit and then I did a little bit consistently. Then I added a little bit onto it and then I added a little bit more, but I have to keep maintaining the other things that I was doing. And now I'm just really happy with the routine that I have. And yes, it probably could be much more intense. And yes, I probably could get even better results, but I've gotten really great results. And so the goal is to just keep getting those results, to keep having success with it over and over again over a long period of time. So That's what's important in your business as well. Momentum is not inspiration. It's not a feeling that suddenly, oh, I'm inspired and so I'm going to do this. Those will take you further. If you've got that momentum growing and then you get this sudden inspiration or this idea, well, then you're able to add that idea onto what you're already doing, and it can really compound the success that you're having. But so many people, they see some success and then they kick back and then they're waiting to be inspired again. And that is not what momentum is. And it's not a big reset. And that is the problem with a lot of people, is they're constantly resetting, relaunching. I'm going to restart. We're going to relaunch our programs. We're going to relaunch our business. That is not going to be healthy. You can have a new launch. You can have an exciting, something new that you're trying, but you're not stopping all of the other things. It's an added stream of income, not I got to create a brand new stream of income or a stream of income, period. So if you can change your mindset on this, that in itself is going to be a big win for you. Think of momentum like if you've ever, tried to build a snowman. And when you first have this little snowball, you're trying to put it together and it's tiny and it's just about the size of your hand. And so then you're trying to smash it together and you're trying to get it to go and you're trying to roll it in the snow. And it starts it's really hard at first for it to sort of stick together. And then all of a sudden it just is. And then you're rolling the snowball and pretty soon you've got a big, huge base for your snowman. If you've ever built a snowman, that's how that works. So a lot of times what people do is they start and then it's so big that they can't move that huge snowball now. And so the snowman ends up being in a weird part of your yard where you're like, oh, I wish we would have thought about this differently and worked our snowball around to where the big piece was where we wanted it to end up, right? But all of a sudden, and it doesn't, once in the beginning, it's hard and you got to kind of hold it together and you're pushing it along and it just doesn't seem like some of it's fallen off and it just seems really hard, like it isn't sticking. And then all of a sudden it sticks and then it's rolling and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what momentum is. And it's exciting. And that's what we need to understand. Momentum is what turns effort into ease. So when people say you can sit back and do nothing, and you can sit back and coast, no, but you can sit back and take it a little bit easier. So that means you're still putting effort, you're still working, but now things are going to become a little bit easier to keep things moving along so that you can be creative, so that you can get that inspiration, so that you can do new things that are fun. Absolutely, that's what keeps everything going along and exciting. So that is what momentum really is. Now, why do people lose momentum? And I've seen this over and over again over the past 30 years that I've worked with lots of different people and lots of different companies. It's number one is the starting and stopping cycle. I've kind of already covered that, but it's like where they put all this effort and they're working really, really hard and then they get tired out, they get burnt out. And then they're like, I just need a break. And every single time you take a break, you have destroyed your momentum. So you don't want to have this constant start and stop cycle. You want to start and do things that are going to be sustainable and then continue to add to those things so that they start to get that compounded interest. The other mistake that people make is they keep waiting for motivation before acting. And it's that what I talked about in those 5 Ds. You can't sit around for desire to overwhelm you before you make concrete decisions, before you follow through with the details or your daily actions. So the desire comes once you've made the decision and you start doing those actions, then you start to get excited about what you're doing. The other one is overthinking before executing. And this is what a lot of people do. It's that perfectionism equals procrastination, where people are just saying, okay, I got to overthink this. I got to make sure that everything is just right. No, you have to start to dig in and do action steps instead of overthinking it, or instead of trying to think about this big, huge picture. Think about that small snowball and then how you're going to continue to grow that. That is what you need to be thinking about. The other one is they try to do too many things at once, which breaks down to what? Focus. They don't get clear and focused on what really matters. They don't get focused on their income producing activities. They don't get focused on the thing that is going to take them over the finish line. They get doing busy work instead of productive work. So doing too many things at once, and then comparing your progress to other people. When you start to compare as to how well you're doing based on what somebody else is doing, somebody is always going to be doing better than you. But you don't know what their story is. You don't know where they started. You don't know how long they've been doing it. You don't know what kind of momentum that they've created. And so you have to be focused on your progress, on what you're doing, and don't play the compare game. Because when you do, the number one thing that happens when you start comparing your success to somebody else's is that you will lose momentum, period, because you lose your focus. And then you start trying to do things that isn't even really what you want to accomplish or what matters to you. So we have to be very careful of what matters. That's why setting goals is so important. I know that a lot of people think, oh, I don't need to set goals. But if you don't set goals at all, then it's hard to even create momentum and move towards something because you don't know what you're moving toward. So even if you happen to get lucky, then the next thing you know, it's gone. It's gone in a blink of an eye because you didn't really have a focus or a purpose to begin with. Why is May an important month? Because if you haven't really started to create some momentum, you should have, like January sometimes is slow, then February gets kicking in, April and May should be like, wow, we're making things happen. Remember, I talked about that the second quarter should be treated like the fourth quarter of the year. And if you do, so that snowball is building and it's kind of growing, it will take you through the slow months. And for most businesses, not all, some that's their key peak season, but for most businesses, summer is always a little bit slower. So that's why in April and May, we want to get that momentum and we want to work extra hard in May so that it will carry us through, that we can continue to work, but it will carry us through. Even if things slow down a little bit, I'm still got some momentum rolling so that when the fall rolls around, then I can really kick it into high gear and I've already got momentum rolling, and then you are going to have a big close of the year. That's why May is so critically important. If you lose your momentum now, or you're kind of taking a step back right now, then you've got your slow months coming up of June, July, and August, or July, August. Then in September, you are going to be starting from scratch. You are going to be starting all over to try to have a successful fall selling season. And could you do that? Absolutely you can. But just think, if you were to try to build that momentum right now and keep that going through the summer slow months, then when fall hits, you're already in position to what? Kick it into high gear. You could actually end up doubling your sales for the last quarter of the year instead of starting from square one and having whatever sales that you're going to have. This is why May is so critically important. There has been times where I have said, okay, May, I'm going to it's got 31 days in it. I am going to do challenges. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to connect with more people. I'm going to work on my sales. By talking to those people, you build new leads. You're getting new people that will say, oh yeah, I want to do business with you, because a lot of people won't start doing business with you in the summer because they think in their mind, this is a mindset that people carry for summer. You know what? I'm going to take it easy in the summer and we'll do that. We'll do that in the fall. You know what? Call me in the fall. Let's talk in the fall. I can't even tell you how many people that I have heard say that to me. You know what? Give us a call in the fall and we'll really move this thing forward. But if I'm talking to them in May and I'm getting them excited, April and May, then all of a sudden they're like, okay, let's do this thing because we're already in it. They're not having to make a decision in July. We've already, created a business relationship. We're starting to create that momentum in May so that they just keep it going. We've already started. And then by the time that fall comes, oh my goodness, I've seen a lot of people think, oh, I'll wait and start a business in the fall. And I always say, don't start a business right smack in the middle of summer because it'll be a bigger struggle. Start your business in the spring. Keep it going and building it through the summer, and then you're going to take off in the fall. So I want you to really think, what extra things can you do this month of May? How many contacts can you make? How many relationships can you build? Can you set up Zoom meetings? How many days of the week? Set up 3 a week. Like, what kinds of things can you do this month that can really help you build new contacts and then keep that coasting then, those relationships through summer, so that they are just going to take off in the fall. So that's what I would like to encourage you with. Momentum is so special. And I would say that, gosh, probably 80% of people, they get it. And then they sit back and relax. They quit doing the very things that helped them get where they wanted to be. It's really that simple. And I see it all the time. And so sometimes when I teach basics, people say, I needed to hear this because I was doing this and then I stopped. And then when you ask people why they stopped, they don't know. They just don't know because they were working really hard and they decided to take it easy. And they live off the fruits of that labor instead of letting it compound. And then it starts to what? Dwindle down. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I got to go back to doing what I was doing. Why not keep doing what you're doing? Maybe not. This is why I don't want you to start with this huge intensity at the beginning. Start small, work your way up to where it starts to compound. It gets bigger and bigger. And then you're not going to have to there's some sustainability to that. And this way you don't get burnout. Most people work so hard, then they get burned out, then they take a break, then things start to fall apart. And then they say, oh my gosh, I got to restart again. Let's try to figure this out. And that's exhausting. Over a long period of time, that behavior is exhausting. So I hope you like what you heard today. Please subscribe, like, and don't forget, if it's something that you think is really good or somebody you know that you care about needs to hear this, then don't forget to share. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you again on Wednesday because this whole week is about momentum.